Hello, and welcome to What Am I Rolling, a twice-monthly RPG one-shot podcast, hosted by me, Fiona. This is part 2 of our Paranoia one-shot, so make sure you listen to the first part before continuing on with this episode. This episode's guests are from Dunking on the DM, where comedy and storytelling collide in one actual play tabletop RPG podcast. They have 2 ongoing campaigns, one using the 5th edition rule set and the other the Genesis system. They also do the occasional one-shot using different RPG systems. I recently guested on their show for a Troika one-shot, which was very fun and my first ever experience of that RPG. Would definitely play Troika again, by the way. So check them out. Dunking on the DM podcast can be found wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, here is your spoiler warning alert for the introductory mission. Your security clearance is not high enough for the title of this adventure, because that is the mission we are playing through in this one-shot. If you're planning on playing this mission through as a troubleshooter at any point in the near future, stop now and come back when you or one of your clones is ready. To briefly recap, Tim, Alistair, Ben, Josh and Kylie are members of Infrared Working Party, who are currently on an important mission for Friend Computer. They are heading to Sector Hoy in Alpha Complex to find a plug, unplug it, and then plug it back in. However, under the watchful eye of Roz, a red level clone, and Friend Computer, things will inevitably not go to plan. Every time a troubleshooter wants to do something, or the GM asks them to do a thing, they must add a stat and a skill together along with any other modifications. This can come from action cards, equipment, support or assist from other troubleshooters, behaving smartly, etc. And this will create their node dice number. That's number of dice, dice number. The troubleshooter must then roll a number of d6s equal to their node plus the computer dice, which is another d6. They must always roll the computer dice no matter what, even if their node is 0 or less. Each dice that shows a 5 or a 6 is a success and adds 1 point to the troubleshooter's final total. This is then compared to the difficulty number set by the GM for the task. Essentially, the more successes a troubleshooter gets, the more likely they are to achieve their goal. Now, it is possible for troubleshooters to have negative nodes, as they may be asked to mix and match a whole range of stats and skills which don't normally go together. In these cases, the troubleshooter must treat the negative number as a positive one and roll that many dice plus computer dice. However, any dice which doesn't show a 5 or a 6, so shows a 1, 2, 3 or 4, will subtract the total number of successes. Yep, totally cruel, I know. If the computer dice shows a 6, troubleshooters will lose a point of moxie, as they've attracted the attention of Friend Computer during a stressful situation and things are about to get non-standard. Troubleshooters also have access to something called moxie, an indication of how in control their current clone version is and represents their high stress levels. Troubleshooters can spend moxie to help them get extra dice on any roll, at a conversion rate of 1 moxie point per die, or spend 1 point of moxie to re-roll their whole dice pool. Moxie can also be used to activate mutant powers if a troubleshooter has them, but shh, we don't talk about mutants or traitors in front of Friend Computer. Troubleshooters will automatically lose Moxie if they roll a 6 on the computer dice, or if they experience upsetting visuals, substances, or experiences during their mission. If a troubleshooter loses all their Moxie, they lose it. Freak out big time. The only way to recover from losing it is to get Moxie points back, and the most efficient way to do that is to get a fresh clone. Read into that what you will. Sometimes this is the kindest solution, but it's also the quickest. There are other rules regarding character creation, combat, and mutant powers, which we don't have time to go into here. However, I can recommend checking out the Red Clearance Edition box for Paranoia because the writing is incredibly funny and straightforward, and it really places you at Alpha Complex in the setting. I particularly love the player's handbook. I just thought that was really cool and an easy way to get into the game. So if you're interested in Paranoia and the Perfect Edition isn't out just yet, I'd go and check out the Red Clearance Edition. One last thing before we begin. Naturally, there are times in this one-shot where the players and myself, mostly myself, get the rules wrong or forget something plot-wise. Whilst we always endeavour to stick to the rules wherever possible, at the end of the day, we all make mistakes. And what matters most is that everyone enjoys themselves. And with all that out of the way, let's get back to Alpha Complex. So you've made it to Sector Hoi, and your arrows, your sort of mission has updated GTA style by saying, like, you've completed it, and then it says you need to head towards subsector K15. Like, imagine like I'm just trying to think of any good building, really. Just like it's basically like a council building, like, those big sort of hallways. You probably see stairs and doors going off to all sides of you. The arrow's pointing straight ahead in your sort of heads, but the whole floor, you assumed it was tiled, like you can feel it, like, or tiled or carpeted or something like that, but you can't see it because it is fully sort of red, this sort of red swashing liquid. As you sort of slowly make your way through, it's got the sort of the density of like a sauce, essentially, that you would use to cover a dessert topping, essentially. As you sort of make your way towards maybe like a cross section, you can see, like, again, like as I said before, there was like people sort of rushing past, probably splashing their way through. You can see like a couple of greens sort of making their way. There's a red sort of talking in a corner, trying to get into a different lift and stuff. Roz is just like, look, let's just get to subsector K, get the plug, unplug it, plug it back in, and then we're done. And then we all get points, and it'll be fine.
Is this liquid normally supposed to be here? I don't know if I know, or if people who are security clearance are supposed to know that.
Are you asking it out loud?
I guess so, yeah.
Roz goes, well, don't ask me. I assume it's not supposed to be here, but you shouldn't ask me questions. If you want to know, ask friend computer.
Friend computer, is this strawberry dessert liquid supposed to be here?
As this, from the ceiling, this vaulted ceilings, a huge computer monitor comes down. It's like, what is your question, troubleshooter? Number one, troubleshooter Frog. What is your query?
Yes, my query is this sugary red liquid, is this supposed to be here? Is this all of normal working order?
Processing. No, this is a brand new liquid here, should not be here.
Right.
Is that the end of your query?
I suppose so. It's not our mission to...
Have an alpha day. Goes back up.
You too, computer.
Peter, you're still on hold, by the way.
The twitching is slowly intensifying.
It's like a little word. Like, you can see, like, it's like across your field of vision, there's like a U and a Q, like, moving around, basically. It does say at the bottom is that if you wish to leave the queue at any time, you may click off the thing, but if you do so, you would lose your place in the queue. So there's
Mama didn't raise no quitter.
As you sort of start to wade through the dessert topping, following the arrow, so to speak, it gets a little bit deeper. It comes almost up to sort of thigh height, and it's like, it's difficult terrain, essentially. You are it's getting thicker as you're moving your way through, and it's going to be slow going. It's going to take you several hours, maybe a day, to get to the subsection. Like, you see it updating, like, bit by bit, how many yards or meters away your destination is. You can see, like, around you as well, like, I sort of described it as sort of a big open office space in a way, like sort of this big corridor. You can see there are tables and chairs, there's sort of lights and stuff. You can see them all sort of floating a little bit at this point because it's got quite deep.
Can we grab the table and use the mops as rowing oars to get there quicker?
So you maybe get a couple of them and you sort of flip them over, and as they're of that very cheap material that sort of floats perfectly well. So easy enough, yes, you can do that. So there's only space, though, for 3 of you on this table.
Well, that's number one troubleshooter.
If no one minds, I would like to book a spot. I'm not in the best physical form, you see.
Why don't you clamber up there, Bridget? I'm sure that 2 strapping lads like myself and Peter can walk without trouble.
Oh my, thank you. And she'll...
And I assist you
very
up.
ungraciously flop over onto the table and very slowly white herself round.
Frog, I love your idea. I think it's a brilliant plan, totally flawless. I just think that perhaps I should get on the table so that you weren't associated with the 2, more physically inept members of the party. I think you would be better leading the way. Think of it as you're crossing the Delaware, but instead of crossing it, you're in it.
Peter, I hear what you're saying, and I understand where you're coming from. However, as number one troubleshooter, I must look after the less physically able of our members to protect them, to make sure they stay safe. This is my duty, my solemn duty as number one troubleshooter, and I will rise magnificently.
That's so wonderfully selfless of you.
I know, I try.
Wise and just as always, Frog. I am once again in awe of your mental gymnastics.
Oh, please, I'm too humble to accept such praise.
Bridget and Valence, you feel like something shift on your improvised boat table, and you can see Roz has also got up on the table, taking the final spot as these three are arguing about who gets that
Well, that
spot.
settles that then. Oh, hello. You're also in for the ride.
Well, obviously, as the highest level of clearance, and it's looking directly at Frog at this point, like, as higher level, I obviously get a spot on this, so...
Of course.
That is procedure.
That makes perfect sense. I'm glad you feel comfortable enough to join us on this journey and use I hope you take this opportunity to learn more about some of your fellow workers. I'm sure Bridget has some wonderful tales to tell.
Yes, please, Bridget, entertain our wonderful leader.
Why don't you tell her more about your grandchild's viewing habit?
Your grandson sounds like a right lark.
Oh, yeah. Well, my grandson, he likes to play with
Friend
toys.
Computer, he calls. And from the comes
He
down.
likes
Like,
these large models and he likes to paint them, and then
the computer comes down and he goes, "Yes, troubleshooter Ross, how can we be of assistance? I wish to report negligence from Infrared Party. They seem to have been lacking in their ability to continue along the mission." Oh, well, that is a problem, troubleshooter Ross. In what capacity? Well, they seem it best to delay actions by talking about stories of the past from before Alpha Complex. And you see computer sort of, if a computer could blink, it does. And it sort of rounds on troubleshooter Bridget. And it's like, troubleshooter Bridget, are you telling stories from prior to Alpha Complex, prior to year 214?
I suppose so. I'm sorry, am I not meant to?
Think very carefully on this. Are you doing traitorous things, troubleshooter Bridget?
Oh no, I've never done a traitorous thing, not once
But
in my life.
you're reporting on having memories prior to Alpha Complex. Is that not a traitorous thing?
She's gonna try to think quick on her feet, being like, oh no, they must have been implanted by a traitor, a different traitor, not me.
Oh, can you name this other traitor, troubleshooter Bridget? If they are here, then we must expose them immediately. It gets closer because
She's gonna look wildly around and then point at Valis.
Hi there.
troubleshooter Valis, are you a traitor?
Absolutely not. You see, what Bridget said is something a traitor would say, don't you think?
And what did she say?
Well, she's talking about things before Alpha Complex, which is against procedure, as I'm sure you know, as
What
do all of
procedure
us.
exactly,
Well,
troubleshooter
it's
Valis?
Section 27, paragraph B, and then he's probably, is he making this up? Quite possibly. I'm going to say yes. My moxie is getting lower.
Yeah, I mean, for me, a brains Alpha Complex roll to see if you can bluff your way into...
Yeah, I'm going to try to pretend I know so much about the system. I wouldn't possibly break it. So here we go. Those are 3 ones I've just rolled. Let's see how the computer does. No.
Nope,
0.
so no successes. The computer leans in very close and is like, troubleshooter balance, there is no subsection C in that form. It does not exist. We got rid of it because it was not efficient enough. Are you efficient enough for this mission?
Look, I'm flabbergasted for a second. You see some sweat dripping down my forehead. Of course. Yes, please. Oh God, yes, I am.
It turns to Roz and is like, troubleshooter Roz, it seems there's been a miscommunication here. Please proceed with the mission as required. You are in full control of this. A hand taps Frog on the shoulder, comes out, picks up number 1 troubleshooter card, goes round, gives it to Roz. And Roz's like, thank you, friend computer. Have an alpha day. Goes back up into the ceiling.
Bridget is going to give evil eyes towards Valis.
All right, so you have an upturned table with Bridget, Valis, and Roz on it, and then Jeff and Frog and Peter. I mean, there could be other tables around, so you can always flip another table up and have like almost like a duo boat thing going on, perhaps, or lash it together with stuff. So that is also a possibility.
Oh yeah, can we do that?
Easy enough. So are you going to tie them together, or are you going to keep them separate?
I think tie them together for maximum fun.
Solid. So yes, you're all conveniently all on the same little bit of boat, using your mops to slowly make your way through the sludge. And it's a good thing you do, because it gets to a point where you're not doing a gondola style through the hallways of Sector Hoy. You sort of start to lose. It gets deeper and deeper, so you realise that you'd probably have to be swimming through this normally. As you get further into the complex, you pass several different rooms. Most of them are closed. A couple, you can see there's one that's like a dormitory off to the right. There is like it looks like a break room, and you can see some sort of red troubleshooters sort of playing cards or something, and that's sort of like shouting at each other, looking very distracted. But you continue your way. The arrow sort of points, saying, following the arrow, going in and out of different corridors. You then get to a T-junction. You come up to sort of at the base of the T, and the arrow tells you once again to go left. However, you also stop in that sort of junction, because on the left-hand side, you can see the top part of this corridor has a huge sort of red stripe, eye level essentially, indicating that it is a red clearance corridor only. And Roz is like, well, look, I'm sure it's fine. We need to get across with the briefing. Just let's go down the red corridor.
I wholeheartedly agree.
But is this not against procedures?
The computer is telling us to go that way, and we need to complete this mission for friend computer. And if we all work together, we can achieve great things.
Roz turns to Troubleshooter Frog, who's sort of said, is that not against protocol? Look, the mission overrides everything. And as Troubleshooter in charge, number one, Troubleshooter, and she taps her I like the idea she's got like a clean... a badge or something, like a plastic wallet to put these things in. It just so happens to have it on her jumpsuit. So it's just there with a button put in. So I say we go down the red corridor.
All right, fine. I'll agree this time.
I wholeheartedly support your decision, and am glad to hear that you have thrown your weight behind us and take full responsibility for our actions.
This is a collective enterprise, Peter. We're all trying to serve the computer.
Oh, precisely. I just want to make sure that Roz gets all of the benefits, whatever may come her way, as a result of this action.
You're so selfless, Peter.
Well, one does what one can for the friend computer.
I'm glad that we can now be such friends. And then she gives more evil eyes to us.
Yes, we are such great friends.
So you start making your way down the red corridor. About 10 meters into the corridor, Roz suddenly shouts, "Friend computer, I wish to report seeing infrared people in a red clearance corridor." The computer thing comes down and goes, "What is the meaning of this, troubleshooters? Infrared troubleshooters in a red clearance corridor? That is clearly suspicious activity."
We were instructed to by this very person, Roz, to override protocol and come here for the good of the mission. She has decided she will take full responsibility for all of her actions, including this one.
Is this true, Troubleshooter Roz? Not at all, friend computer. I have been trying to stop them from going down this corridor, but they insisted on going and were almost sort of to a violent sort of level. Well, obviously, as red clearance, our word must be true. We do not trust infrared troubleshooters, as they have not gained their red clearance level.
Friend computer, we are about 5 EXP away from gaining red clearance level, and there are also 5 of us versus 1. Surely numbers must account for something. We have 5 witnesses here versus the word of 1 red clearance level officer.
Troubleshooter Frog, was it not you that broke the initial mob that got rid of those XP points from your fellow infrared working party
That wasn't
members?
just. He took full responsibility for that, and as acknowledgement of his wise decisions...
But were you not holding them up when it happened? Surely a joint responsibility is needed here.
Well, everything happened so fast, and it was a 5-star traitor that started this whole thing. If he had not been so treasonous and running from justice, then the mop would not have broken in the first place.
So you are blaming a traitor that has long been since deceased for your actions of now.
No, I think this is all just a great big misunderstanding. I'm certain.
Computer turns to Jeff.
I flinch away from him.
Yep.
The troubleshooter Oz. There's no need to tell such a lie, troubleshooter.
I'm not lying. As you can see, friend
We are
computer,
all
I
working
had to go
together,
along with
trying
them.
to serve friend computer.
Friend computer, troubleshooter Jeff is actually the worst. All he does is a yes man and agrees to stuff. And surely that is not what we need. We need a little bit of initiative here, friend computer.
Friend computer, if I may interject at this point, I hope that we can bring
Computer
this
turns to Peter.
to an amicable conclusion. I just wanted to suggest that if there were anyone doing traitorous or treasonous things in this group of us, surely it would make sense for that traitor to pick the highest role possible within that group in order to inflict the maximum amount of carnage. And obviously we, being but humble infrareds, would never have any of the authority or wherewithal to be able to do anything of any damage, whereas Roz...
Are you accusing somebody, troubleshooter Peter, of being a traitor?
Well, I'm merely suggesting that if there were a traitor, Roz would be the most likely pick.
Is there a traitor or not, troubleshooter Peter?
Well, given that we have a conflict of information, I would suggest we have to have one.
Gets in really close to you. We did not deal in hypotheticals, troubleshooter Peter. Is there or is there not a traitor amongst you? And if so, you should name it instantly to stop traitorous activity happening.
Friend computer,
Turns back.
someone has lied to you. That is treasonous behaviour, correct?
Correct.
And that liar is Roz. And I'm sure all five of us would back me up on this.
Why would troubleshooter Roz be the liar here? She is of red clearance, whereas all of you are of infrared clearance. And it sort of clocks round and then stops on Bridget, who still has a star above her name. It would seem to be very clear who the traitor is here.
She's gonna pick up her grapple gun and go, well, Waz is a lying little bitch, and then shoot her.
Roz. All right. Okay. So I need you to make for me a violence guns check. Amazing. With a computer dice, and tell me what you get.
So that's, I've got +4 guns and 2 in violence, so that's 6 rolls, so I'll need to do that twice.
Yep, that's fine. And then +1 computer dice as well.
6, 4, and a 3, and 2, 4, and a 2, and then
One success just now. Anything on computer?
the computer dice is 3.
3. Okay, so you get 1 success. So you do manage to hit Roz, and she's not expecting it, so she gets pushed off into the very dramatically, like Die Hard style, but very, very short platform into the red dessert topping. You are immediately set up upon, Bridget, by various arms coming from the thing, going, the traitor is here! The traitor is here! Your traitor star goes up to 5 instantaneously, and the arms sort of grapple around you. Is anyone doing anything just now?
As soon as it goes up to 5 stars, Peter's going to go up behind Bridget and try and break her neck.
Yeah, I launch myself at Bridget from wherever I am.
Okay, sure. Okay, excellent. This is
the most psychotic game of anything I've ever
We're
played.
just such good friends.
All right. So, Peter, I need you to do me a violence. Let's say athletics check, and the same for you, Jeff, as well. If I guess you're leaping.
Could I argue for melee instead, given that I'm actually attacking her? Or would it be athletics?
Sure. Yeah, I'll let you go for melee. Go for it.
Excellent.
Okay, I fail, and I don't get anything on the computer dice.
All right. You sort of stop short. If anything, you trip over yourself a little bit, so you don't make it over in time.
4 successes.
Oh my god. Okay.
Bridget.
Unfortunately, Bridget, because I think you were hurt from before as well. You almost feel like around you, you just feel Peter sort of like go to sleep.
Yeah, he's very apologetic. Though. He's like, shh, sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so you again, all of your visions blur dramatically. It's like, warning. Everyone loses 1 moxie point as this happens. And unfortunately, Bridget, you are snuffed out as sort of the body goes limp. The arms pull up Bridget into the ceiling. Different from before where she went into the ground. She's now up into the ceiling.
It's symbolism.
And then there's another like ring, and out of the hallway, in like the wall, the sort of wall opens, and another clone of Bridget sort of falls out a little bit with the same stuff. No murderous intent, but with all the knowledge of what's happened into the red scissor.
Hello. It all got a bit excitable. I'm sorry.
Computer sort of whirls round to you, Peter, and it's like, Troubleshooter Peter, we had this under control, yet you decided to interfere with Friend Computer's removal of Troubleshooter Bridget 3. What was the purpose of this?
I could see she was planning a daring and vicious escape, and I wanted to ensure that Friend Computer had as much support as possible.
Indeed. We see that you're trying to help in this. Unfortunately, we have most of this under control, so you will gain only 2 XP points.
Oh, very well done, Peter.
Great show, chap. Excellent.
There's a sort of swoosh as out from beneath the table, Roz gets back up onto the table. She's like, let's call it quits. Computer, I wish to retract my earlier statement. And Computer goes, acknowledged. Have an alpha day. Peter, this whole time, by the way, you've moved very slowly in the queue.
I think that is slowly pushing up his psychoses.
That's what I was...
That's very kind of you, Roz, to retract your statement. I'm glad we can now work together for Friend Computer.
Yes.
I think this incident has brought us all a bit closer together.
Bridget sloshes onto the table.
She's starting to lick her hands to get some of the strawberry juice away. Yum. And she's just sitting there, like, being quite happy.
And what you notice, Bridget, as well, I'll say this, because you did manage to get a shot off. Unfortunately, the gun itself, the grapple gun, is now covered in strawberry flavour topping. And it's gummed up. So you think that it might not be usable for the foreseeable future. You carry on through the corridors in silence. Roz does not speak to any of you. And things are a bit tense. The corridor sort of widens out into a large food service area. Islands of what look like to be congealed breakfast mix float serenely between countertops that protrude above low waves on the liquid. High above, sparks flicker between shattered lighting fixtures hanging from the vaulted ceiling. There is then a yell of, "Ahoy, sector! Torrents amidship on the scurvy bow port, overclock the mainsail and prepare to be motherboarded." From around the corner, 5 people row into view, paddling a long table, like a conference table, with sheets tied to its legs. There is a black flag and a skull dangling limply from one of the inverted table legs.
Oh, hi, are you here to help?
Prepare to be motherboarded. And they're getting closer, but they're taking a little time. You see sort of 5 individuals. They're all wearing green and orange jumpsuits at this point. What looks like to be the captain, someone wearing like an orange jumpsuit, has one of those newspaper captain hats, like squarely put on. And it's like, "Yar! Ahoy!"
What's that? You're going to help us install a new motherboard? Mine's perfectly fine, thank you.
These guys seem like they're getting along really well together. One day maybe we'll be like that.
I really appreciate the effort they've gone to in their choice of decor. I think it really shows a creative spark.
I couldn't agree more.
So this pirate rogue group of troubleshooters have sort of taken over this food court area, and you need to get past them in order to continue the mission. What would you guys like to do?
I propose we simply continue on our current course and head in. Our captain. And I turn to Roz, beaming.
Please don't use that language. It's not appropriate. Like,
I'm very sorry.
Any other authority other than Friend Computer will get us all in trouble.
I'm very sorry. And I sort of look placatingly up into the ceiling. It won't happen again.
Well, I think that they appear to be in possession of a much finer and faster vessel than our own, perhaps we can come to some sort of mutual arrangement whereby we have a timeshare. Maybe we could do some bonding. A sea shanty perhaps could really bring the whole group together.
A real sense of community could be developed.
Frog, do you want to save us from this madness?
It's getting closer and closer.
Do you think that they're also looking for the plug that we've got to take out and then put in again? I'm not so sure.
We could ask. Hey, you, have you seen a plug?
They get within, like, I'd say, within touching distance of you of a mop, and they go, what? A plug? No, we're pirates. Do you not see? We've got a skull. We're gonna take your table, and we're gonna make you walk. We're gonna make you walk the booty walk. Yes, that's right, the booty walk. The booty walk. and you see a couple of them from behind, like, take their planks. Like, yeah, the booty walk. Ha ha.
Bridget's really, I've played pirates before. And then she's going to throw a mop spear and try to spear one of the guys.
Fantastic. Violence plus throw plus computer dice for me, please.
So that's 5 in total without the computer dice.
Mm-hmm.
No successes. Try once more.
No successes at all?
No successes, and then computer dice is 3, so no.
No successes. Fair enough. You throw it, and it looks beautiful. Again, slow motion, but everyone just steps apart, like the Red Sea parts, and it goes sailing over their heads, and you just hear a sploosh as it goes into the red dessert topping.
Peter is just going to have a look, like, glance over sadly at Bridget and go, "Oh, Bridget." You know what this means.
Don't worry, Bridget. I'll go and get it. And I would like to jump overboard and desperately swim towards where the broom disappeared beneath the surface.
Here's the thing, Jeff. Do you know how to swim?
It's not come up yet.
No.
So I'm sure I'll just get some on-the-job training. That's the best kind.
Yeah. Totes. And can you do for me I keep doing it violence athletics, don't I? That's not really it.
It might be intimidate. I'm thinking.
What's the case for intimidating?
Well, I think that this display of blind enthusiasm will ward the pirates away. Thereby, they will no longer impede my journey.
Your journey to get the mop to bring back to Bridget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think. I'm sorry. That's a little bit too puffy. I'm gonna violence athletics to see if you can quickly get it under and go grab that mop.
Oh no, the dice. Oh, and it's a success. It's got I have 1 success, and the computer dice is a 3.
So you managed to get to the mop itself, and you managed to grab onto it. And I will say, the pirates, they let you go past. They're like, "Rawr, we're coming for your planks," but haven't made any sort of any sort of advance forward. So you managed to get that mop. So you've got that, and you're currently treading water. Or treading dessert topping currently, but you're aware that there is no bottom, like you can't touch on the bottom, and you're getting tired very, very quickly. Frog, what are you doing at this point?
I'm just taking stock of the situation. I'm not gonna put myself out there, do anything yet. Just clutching my mop very tightly.
Yeah, you're like, oh no, we're down 1 mop. How could we? Oh no. Fair enough. Actually, for you, could you make for me a brain psychology check for me, please, Frog, as you're taking a step back and looking at it.
Okay, so that's 3 dice total. I have 1 success and a 4 on computer dice.
They're being very odd. Like you've never come across pirates before, but they're acting in such a way like you would assume that they're clearly outgunning you. They clearly know, it took you 2 tables to put together and they've got 1 table. So you think they're a bit more with it as a crew, as has been pointed out. They haven't seemed to have attacked you, or like they're just shouting obscenities. Like as Jeff goes past, they're like, "Yar!" Like really sort of a lot of fists sort of shaking and sort of like a lot of noises together.
Do they have, so we're infrared clearance, what colour are they, the pirates?
Or? So they're a mixture of green and orange, so they are much higher than you and Roz currently.
Right. Do I think this is a typical behaviour for people of high clearance security levels, because
It is not.
friend computer, I would like to report a large horde of traitors within our midst.
From the vaulted ceilings of this food area comes almost like a massive bank of computer screens with the flashing computer symbol on, and you just hear a booming voice, almost like taking over sort of the PA system. Troubleshooters, I've been informed that there is traitorous, and looks down at the pirates and is like, Troubleshooter Gracie, please report, what is happening? And the captain in orange is like, no, friend computer, it is I, Captain Infrared Beard.
Nice.
Computer is like, desist this sort of traitorous activity. There's only one authority here. The other troubleshooters are a bit like, uh-oh. No, we are claiming our own bit of the sector. We know about that other sector that you don't talk about. Troubleshooters, this is your final warning. Captain Infrared Beard goes, no, I know about Sector Thay. I know all about... And as that happens, you just see this huge, almost like grappling hook like you see in toy vending machines go and almost like crunch down, breaking that table apart and grasping Infrared Beard and a couple of the crew members and just pulls up. Traitors have been dealt with. Have an alpha day. Jeff, could you make for me, again, another violence athletics check as you're trying to get back?
Yeah. That's a failure.
That's a failure.
And that's nothing on the computer dice either.
You started to make it back, and you just like, and the big wave from where this big grappling hook sort of came in for, you start to sink. And as you sort of sink, you sort of get lots of videos going, try moving your arms quicker, take bigger breaths.
I'm doing my best to keep the mop above the surface, like Gollum with the ring.
Jeff, throw us the mop. Save the mop.
Unfortunately, Jeff, you are pulled down just by the weight of it, and you're just struggling to the point where you unfortunately drown. But again, there is a bing as suddenly the doors open in the wall and Jeff appears sort of out of the thing, completely brand spanking new with a mop in hand.
Well done, Jeff. And see, once again, you've had the wherewithal to hold on to your mop.
Thanks.
Yeah, you are still harrowed by the fact you just drowned, and you can still feel those memories. But you don't feel sad, or you don't feel anything. You just like, it's just there.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm very tightly holding the mop, and I just sit down on the boat.
Make sure you don't think too much about the liminal space between life and death. You wouldn't want to do that, would you?
I'm sorry, Jeff. I caused all this trouble. I sometimes act before I think, and I'm trying to get better.
That's all right, Bridget. It's fine. I forgive you.
So you continue your way, leaving behind the remains of Infrared Beard. The guiding arrow points you down a darkened corridor. The walls are much narrower here, and the ceiling is lower. And you can see, as you're sort of looking up, there is exposed wiring, which is sort of been, like, the ceiling tiles here seem to be eroded in some way by the red dessert topping. Another few minutes, the passageway opens up into a circular room, and a wide spiral staircase ascends upwards. There is a thick stream of red dessert topping pouring down from an area above, and your cerebral cortex pings gently to let you know that you have arrived. But there is no sign of a plug.
Is there like an arrow pointing up to go up the stairs, or am I?
No, it is. It's, you come into an area, like, it's one of those like Red Dead Redemption or Horizon Zero Dawn. It's like, here's the area. Okay. Right, now you're here. But it's like a big, massive area, essentially.
Well, we might as well all get to it. And I hop off the boat and just begin aimlessly looking around.
So where you come in, there is sort of you manage to sort of get up onto the staircase as well. You're having a look around. Make for me a brain science check, I guess. And everyone can do that if you've not rolled yet. Please do.
Right. Brains science.
No success. Nothing on the computer.
I have a 0 for that. What does that do?
I'll come to you in a second.
I have a computer dice success.
Good to know.
I have 1 success as well.
1 success,
I've also got 1 success.
Cool. So yeah, if you've got a 0 in it, you still roll computer dice.
Okay. That is a 6.
6. So success as well on the computer dice. So 2 successes on the computer dice. So those people who got successes on computer dice, suddenly in your vision you get another pop-up, and it goes, Troubleshooters, you have been selected to rate the current mission and how well you think it is going in terms of efficiency, fun, and flavour on a scale of 1 to 84. So, on a scale of 1 to 84, how efficient has this mission been so far?
I think definitely I wouldn't want to complain. Is this just like a on the screen, or is it listening to what I'm saying?
It's on your face. Also, those people who rolled computer successes on computer dice, that's -1 Moxie as well. Yeah, so it sort of comes up almost like, imagine Clippy has come over there. I see you're trying to evaluate what's happening with the thing, you know. It's that sort of thing. So yeah, you can definitely speak aloud, or you could just select it with your eye movements, I guess.
I think a good healthy 83 out of 84.
Bling goes 83. All right. In terms of fun, on a scale of 1 to 84, how has this mission been?
Oh, most enjoyable. 84.
Bling. And in terms of flavour, on a scale of 1 to 84, how has this mission been?
Peter's going to surreptitiously lick his finger, and he definitely got half and half blood and strawberry.
Yep.
84.
Bling. It sort of goes up, and he goes, fantastic news, Troubleshooter Peter. We will take this feedback and respond accordingly. And this whole time, again, the sort of cue in your thing, you shoot ahead to 5 in the queue. Who was the other person that got computer dice? Me. All right, it's Bridget. Okay. It comes up in your, again, a vision, and it's friend computer, like it was almost like a cutesy sort of like Billy Bullseye, sort of like, hey there, that sort of thing. And it goes, hey.
Hello.
Hi, we've got a question that we only ask certain people at random times of the day to test their sort of intellect skills. Are you ready for your daily question?
Absolutely.
Oh, right. Just typing in best riddles for children. What has to be broken before you can use it? Don't you dare type that into Google.
How dare you doubt my integrity?
No, I'm saying that to other troubleshooters who might be listening.
You know that glass you have to break before you can press the fire alarm? I think that.
In case of emergency, break glass.
Yeah.
There's a moment when it goes beep boop. Unfortunately, that is not correct. Oh, looks like you may need to go to re-education. And then in your sort of to-do list, you obviously have the mission briefing. Underneath, it says side quest, go for re-education as a side mission for you.
Oh, I guess I'm going back to school then. That should be fun.
But you all passed with at least a success well, everyone got a success, right? So you can see, looking where this red dessert topping is coming from, that something has clearly punctured the floor above. Looking up the staircase itself, you can see that there's a lot of debris and a lot of exposed wiring, certainly at the top where this stuff is. And with all that, because you all passed with success, you would realise that where you've come out is almost like a gantry in a way. And the dessert topping that's been coming through has filled up from the bottom and is currently there. And now with the corridor behind you, it's flooding out of the corridor, not getting any higher. So you think it's deeper beneath you.
Jeff, how do you feel about drowning again? For the good of the mission and friend computer.
Well, as you know, I'm happy to do anything for friend computer, but I would prefer to not drown again. It was most unpleasant. However, I'm sure that if we all work together, I won't need to die. I've got an idea. I could just go under the water head first, and if people held onto my legs, they could pull me up after about 30 seconds. Once I'm down there, I'm sure I'll be able to see to the bottom.
As much as I admire your enthusiasm, Jeff, I do have a bit of trouble imagining how you might see through strawberry pudding. I don't want to put any aspersions on you as a person, but it no.
It's a well-founded doubt. I have to concede the point there.
You said there's a lot of debris, right? Are there any rusty pipes you can use as a makeshift snorkel thing?
I was about to ask the same thing.
Yeah. So I guess with Valence and Frog, you can look at, and easily there's different like sort of pipes, like not necessarily bent round for snorkel stuff, so you might have to do it like a side-on approach. Some of them are really big, and some of them are teeny tiny. I'm sure you could find something suitable for this this thing without rolling.
Does this body armor, does that help people breathe when there's no air?
I don't think so.
It does have a helmet of sorts and looks to be sealed.
Do you want to find out?
Let's help me suffocate and die.
Well, I've already done that once.
Oh, would you like to? I mean,
well, no, I wasn't volunteering myself. I'd like to offer the opportunity out to any of you others, because I really think that if someone else were to go down there and possibly drown, now I'm not saying I want someone to drown, but they would further understand what I've been through.
Oh, Jeff, we already understand. We're a very compassionate and sympathetic group. You know, we're here if you ever want to talk about it.
Yeah, as an empath, I know what it's like. I empathise with how it's like to drown without needing to go through that myself.
Right.
We'll be right on top of you.
Well, I suppose that... Well, it seems that democracy has prevailed.
So you going in, Jeff?
I'm going in.
All right. All right. Are people Jeff. Holding on to Jeff's legs and stuff as talked about, or you just let him?
Sure.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So Jeff, you sort of take a big breath and dump your head underneath, and you sort of like go forward a little bit, but with I would say everyone grabbing your legs so you don't go too far. It is quite thick. The dessert topping. And like a horrible, that sort of pinky redness essentially in front of you. But then your eyeball display switches to underwater mode.
Oh, I knew Friend Computer would have my back.
Exactly. And it sort of does a big sweep, and it shows you the floor of this place. It does go down one more level. You can see the stairs behind you sort of curl round to underneath, and it looks like in the center of this room. How can I describe it? It looks like a huge sort of... the floor of itself, is tiled, completely tiled. But then in the middle, there's almost a central bit with like a chain coming off it and off to one side. And you see something attached to the chain itself, but it looks unmistakably like a giant bath plug.
Oh, well, I think... Thank you, Friend Computer. And wait for my companions to pull me up. I did say 30 seconds to them. I will remind them.
Okay. 30 seconds passed.
Bridget will be like counting out loud, but she would have definitely lost her place, and it would just be random numbers.
Yeah.
I'm explaining like best how to swim in clothes, like I was once trained to, and then probably get lost for a bit and realize, hang on, it's been 45 seconds, how we fight, and then we
definitely. What feels like an eternity, you were then brought up, Jeff. I will say that your friends aren't too cruel just yet. Your whole head is completely covered. Your sort of Lego hair is now like proper stuck to you, like a proper helmet, so to speak, because of the red dessert topping. But yes, you managed to get back up fine.
Yeah, I wipe the worst of the dessert liquid from my face so that I can breathe and talk. And I say, well, you see, everyone, I said if we worked together, we'd be able to accomplish anything. And I point in the vague direction of where the plug is. And I say, Friend Computer pointed out to me where this plug is. It's down there.
Oh, excellent work, Chef. And you can tell you. And I grab the rusty snorkel pipe and I go, here, shove this in your mouth and get back to pulling it out.
Now,
we'll be right behind you.
Now, I would say that as much as I have now found the plug and really want to help pull it out, I am not the most physically able among us. I think that we need to use all of our abilities to the most efficient manner.
That is a fair assessment, I will say, because it is a giant plug. You'd think it would need at least all of you to try and lift it up in some way.
Well, I think that, Jeff, you've done sterling work here today.
Thanks.
And I really appreciate your contributions. I say you lead the way while myself and Bridget, perhaps, would you like to come down and help us to shift the plug?
Sure, but I have an idea, and she's gonna take the grapple gun and sort of try, it doesn't work really as a gun, but she can still pull the chain out, and we can suggest the idea of maybe you can wrap it around the plug and then pull from up top, so not everyone has to actually go down to swim, just someone needs to tie it to the plug.
That's an excellent idea, Bridget. And I think the person who's most qualified to tie the knot down there is you, Valence.
Absolutely.
And then we're all doing our bit for Friend Computer.
Oh, exactly. Oh, I have perhaps one other further suggestion. In the med kit, were there any steroids or was there any adrenaline?
There's a whole mishmash of bottles and stuff with various codes on it. So I'm sure you could find something which you think is either one of those two things.
Excellent. I would like to give steroids to Bridget to help her in her pulling.
Good to know. Bridget, do you allow this to happen?
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
Right. Okay. Can you make for me a brains science roll for me, Peter?
Mm-hmm. That is only one success.
So you find something, you shake it, you're like, yeah, that'll do. You sort of whip out and you like hold still. You're like, and you sort of put it. Yeah. You feel a little better. It's been a bit of a day, Bridget. You've died a couple of times. But yeah, overall feels good. It's not kicked in yet, whatever it is that Peter has put into you.
Excellent.
What I would say as well, because you've all conveniently forgot about her existence, you hear from the back, through her megaphone, Roz is like, well, you seem to have it all in hand here, troubleshooters. I will make sure the exit is prepared for us. And you can see she's actually cut the ropes to the other table, and she's sweeping off on that table to be further away from you guys.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Roz.
See you later.
Not a problem.
Concerns appreciated.
Thanks ever so much. It was great working with you.
Recording this whole time, she shouts, and you can see she's points to her eyeball display.
Thanks, and yeah, I wave as she disappears.
Oh, she does the sort of little finger wave. And out of context, you're like, "Oh, they're all going to die."
No, why not? You can sub-vocalize to the computer.
You totally can. Yes.
Is that us talking to Peter without anyone else knowing?
Yes. It again depends on what you're doing. So, Peter did it in his mind. You can also do something similar, but if you want, it's kind of up to you.
All right. Well, I'm going to try sub-vocalizing with the words "traitor" and "Roz" and "abandoning the mission" all loaded into that question.
What do you say exactly?
Computer, I would like to surreptitiously report a potential traitors in our midst because an instruction has not been followed as instructed by the computer on the mission.
Nothing happens.
Fuck.
You suspect that looking at the damage that this area has, you think friend computer can't reach this area, can't see it, and yet you can't at least respond to you currently.
Does this mean my place in the queue is paused?
Yes, weirdly enough, there's a weird refresh thing. The music is like dee 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 dee.
I think by this point the eye that was twitching is now permanently shut.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wait, so anything that happens here, the computer won't know about?
Can't do anything about until you reconnect to the Wi-Fi.
Interesting. Well, I'll leave that there for now.
I think while this is going on, I've got a hand on Valence's shoulder, and I'm like, don't worry about it, mate. We're all behind you. We know that you can do this with this grapple, and you're going to tie the best knot down there, and we're going to do this mission for computer, and we're going to have you to thank for it.
I can fan scout. I was the best at tying knots, and then I explained the various different knots that I could tie when I'm intending to try. Yeah, and then I'm going to go down, I guess, with this. Chain.
You sort of look to each other. I guess I'm going now, and everyone else sort of pushing you under the red topping.
Yeah, and I'm smiling at you the whole time.
Yeah.
As you're...
Everyone weirdly has the same smile on their faces. Absolutely. Make for me another. It's going to be another violence athletics check as you sort of trying to swim your way down.
Okay. Right, I have a grand total of just the computer dice for this.
Well, is there another skill?
Or is there something else?
Yeah, because I am defaulting to violence athletics because that's if you've got something else, like maybe you've read manuals about how to swim deeply and hold your breath more or anything like that.
Yeah. No, I think so. I think I tried to use. I think some science might be involved.
Violence and science.
Violence.
Combine those two. Would that work?
Yeah. Yeah, that would give me one more dice. I think I tried to make myself maybe actually take off my rubber suit for this, so I'm what's the word, aerodynamic but for liquid. That doesn't make sense. That's nonsense.
Red sauce.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, well done, Valence. I can heartily recommend that. The feeling grows on you after a time.
I do feel somewhat liberated. Okay.
Is that allowed?
But friend computer's not can't see things happening.
Lucky
or can't
you.
do anything about it just yet. So
That was no successes.
So you are desperately trying to get it, and the same thing happens. Your eyeball display hits into underwater mode, and you can see you get about halfway down before you have to go back up. What I will say, though, you notice that the thing that is attached to the plug, along with its own sort of little bit of chain, it looks humanoid in shape. And then you come back up.
I have good news and bad news. I didn't make it down. However, there might be another friend.
Oh, good. Were they chatty? Did they introduce themselves?
By virtue of the fact I couldn't breathe at the time, it did not attempt to communicate.
That's all right. Don't worry about it. I'm sure this person's prepared to help us. Whereabouts are they?
I describe the scene as best I can.
Yeah, and it would make sense to all of you that, yes, that essentially the underneath part, there's a plug-type device in the centre of it and some sort of humanoid thing attached to said plug.
If any of you tell a computer I failed, you'll have it coming for you. And I look nervous.
You have it coming to
It's like, I would never do that. And then does the evil eyes again.
narrow eye. Yeah.
Frog, I feel that you, as our most effervescent and charming member of our little gang, I think you should go down and try and establish some sort of rapport, some back and forth with this new friend of ours. I think that would be really helpful for friend computer.
Valence, did this potential new friend of ours, did they appear to be alive, given the fact that none of us can breathe down there?
Yet to be observed.
You know what, I'm going to grab the rusty snorkel pipe and attempt to go down there with a little peace sign that I've just graffitied on. I'm going to hold up to them.
Like a little white flag?
White flag thing.
I would like to try to maybe do an operate check to make this, what's the thing, the snorkel tube as long as possible.
Oh, bigger,
maybe
yeah.
graft together quite a few different pipes. And maybe
I'm going to
make
shuck
it...
out of my armour as well, because I don't think it's going to really help me.
Okay. I'd say it's not an operate check. It will be an engineer, because you're sort of jerry-rigging stuff coming together.
Yeah. Cool. Right.
Just a quick question to Frog while Alistair's rolling. Do you chuck it onto the boat or off of the boat?
Chuck what onto the boat, sorry?
Your armour.
Onto the boat. Oh, are you going to steal my armour?
Reappropriate, I think, is the
Right,
preferred
of course.
Well, it would be improper not to utilise that resource we have been given by friend computer.
My thoughts precisely.
Get balance.
4 successes on an engineering.
Very good. So so easily enough, you spend a couple of minutes, maybe as Frog is sort of shuffling out of the bodysuit and moving it onto the side. You can make it so it's a pretty good tube, so they can at least have something to pull themselves back on, perhaps, as well as something to breathe on if they need to make an escape. So I think it's pretty airtight for what it is, and won't get destroyed by the sort of sweet, acidic sort of red topping thing that's going on. So. Frog, you're sort of leaping in, gently lowering themselves into this pool. What is your plan? Are you going down to torch this membership?
Yeah, I think before I go down, I'm going to grab any bit of debris I can use a weapon just in case, so I can bash their face in case they're not friendly. Yeah, I guess first I want to swim up to them, see if I get a better look, see if they're still alive.
Sounds good. Okay, make for me a brain psychology check plus computer die.
That is 0 successes and a 1 on the computer die.
You, again, slowly make your way down. It takes you a little while because you're busy trying to get through, essentially. And you get to that and you see it is another troubleshooter, or a clone of a troubleshooter, dead, as sort of been announced. You can see, as they sort of turn towards you in sort of this sort of weird shape, viscous stuff. Yeah, their sort of little name tag comes up and they are Daphne G and then ***6.
So you think this is the final clone of somebody. And these sort of 3 stars are sort of garbled characters instead of a sector name. And you can see around her neck on a cord is a key. Sort of, again, just floating in that sort of the viscousness of the water. And on the key, it has a little tag on it, and it says Sector Theta on it. As you go closer and you see all this, just behind you, you feel something shift in the not the water, but the red dessert topping. Something stirs in the gloom of it, and then long, sinuous lengths, as thick as your arm, uncoil from the bottom of the pit and quest upwards towards where you are and where the table is.
Yeah, I'm scoffing.
Yep, you're scoffing. So fair enough, because you see it coming, and as you leave, a giant sort of red sensor appears as a what you can see, and what you all can see, because these arms sort of start to push out of the water, is a SKW 1DD0 maintenance bot. Sort of comes out of the water Kraken style and starts moving its arms around. All right, so now we're going to do the trickiest part of Paranoia, which is combat. If we're all around the table together, what I would normally do is give you out cards of actions you can do in your combat, in addition to just doing one of those sort of basic checks. So what I've done, I've taken pictures of them, and I'm going to put them in the channel, but I'm going to try and do it sort of in an order, so to speak. So I'll go with sort of Bridget, Jeff, Frog, Valence, and then Peter. Try not to look at each other's cards as best you can. I appreciate it's going to be really tricky to do so. So normally what happens in Paranoia, and I'll say this for you, because it is unfortunate because they still haven't done a way to do it online yet. I'm sure they will do in the new edition, but essentially what would happen is that you would all look at your cards, and then I would count down from 5 to 1. You would pick a card and then put it face down. You can see sometimes on the cards it has an order. So that would be the order that card can go in initiative. So once I've done that, everyone has a card down on the table. I would go from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. And if I call your number, you go, oh, I'm going to act now. And it's the idea that you could also bluff what the number is, etc. And you also have, there's like a little arrow symbol on some of these cards which indicate their reactions to. So you could take your turn out of order. Can't do that online because it's really bloody difficult. So what we're going to do instead, there's 2 things you could do. On your turn, we'll go around in a group. We'll do what we did for that character creation. So we'll go from Bridget, Jeff, Frog, Valence, and then Peter, and then back the other way around. You can use a card on your turn, or you can do a normal stat plus skill, or you can discard one of your cards and just get an extra dice to your dice pool, and that's it. Once you've used a card, you've used it for the thing, and once you've used all 4, let me know and I'll give you some more cards, essentially. So this sort of maintenance bot appears Kraken-like out of this dessert topping, 5 tentacles sort of wavering about, and you see as it sort of crests the top, a huge glowing sensor, and it starts to thrash about. Bridget, it's your turn. What are you doing? What is your plan of action?
Suddenly knives. I would like to use that card.
Read out what it does.
You spot a hand-to-hand weapon useful to the action. Describe it. GM has a veto over your description. The weapon adds +1 dice so long as it's useful and intact. If the GM is particularly pleased by your description, it adds 2+ dice to this round.
Suddenly knives. Okay, cool. So what happens then?
So yeah, the thing comes out of the water, and then Bridget just sort of stumbles on her ass, and quite comically and funny, and then does the whole like sort of crawling back towards the wall, and like her hands are all over it, and then things that were like they were using for like bits of gutter to like breathe in, like there's a bit of metal that's just she cuts herself and gets ooh ow, and then the moment brain sparks thinks this would be useful, and then picks it up.
Yeah, like a really jagged sort of like very sharp thing. Perfect. Yeah, so you now have like a knife-like device with you. What are you doing with it?
Is it within melee distance?
You have like 5 different tentacles all around this area, so you could easily get to one.
Yeah,
and stab
she's just gonna like slash. You know the Lord of the Rings Kraken scene outside the Mines of Moria. Yes.
So that is it'll be a violence check. If you're holding on to it, I'd say it's a melee, or if you're going to throw it, it'll be a throw.
It is a melee, so
yep.
Unfortunately, I have -5, but that's fine. We can work with that. So it's 2 -5 melee, so that's -3.
-3, but you got a +1 from the weapon itself.
So -2.
-2, so you roll 2 dice plus a computer dice, and for every non-success, that counts against you.
5 and a 2, and then computer dice is
0.
5.
5, a success. You reach up and it's just more of a skitter. You almost lose it a little bit because you are covered still with the red topping, but you do 1 point of damage to that tentacle. Great job.
Nice.
But it's still thrashing about.
Oh my! I don't want to hurt you. Can we be friends as well? Oh no!
Again, it's almost like Doc Ock moving around and stuff. Jeff, it's your go. You see these 5 tentacles come out of the water. There is a sensor, and it's sort of flailing about. What would you like to do?
I've got a card here called Colossal Snafu, which just says, honestly, I'm kind of impressed how badly this turned out. Everything has gone wrong.
Yep.
GM, pull out the thumb screws. I would like to play that card, please.
Of course.
So I'm sorry, everyone, but I just want to see what happens. I don't think Jeff has succeeded at anything up to this point, other than not drowning that one time. So, I just want to see what happens to him as this happens.
All right, sounds good. So, what are you doing in this moment, then? Like, are you running away? Are you rushing ahead? What's the plan?
Well, I think Jeff is torn by indecision. He is unarmed, is probably still a bit gunged up from being submerged just a matter of minutes ago. The elderly woman next to him has attacked the monster, and he just doesn't know what to do. So I think he's standing stock still on this small boat.
Perfect. You're standing stock still, and there's a rumble from beneath the boat as one of the tentacles pushes up straight, like breaking the boat apart, so everyone else gets scattered, but it clutches you in its sort of like a claws, Jeff, and it sort of gets you, wings you about, and throws you against a wall.
Great.
You're going to be automatically injured, so that's -2 to your rolls, and the impact of your body, Jeff, against the wall shakes the staircase. Some of the rubble wedged above it shifts. An electrical cable slides out of the blockage and slips towards the surface of the red dessert topping, sparking as it comes. Those people who have not had a go, so Frog, Valance, and Peter, you can all try and grab this cable before it gets into the dessert topping, if anyone wants to.
I would like to.
Yep. So
Can we use any of our cards on that action?
What card would you be thinking of, Peter?
Well, given that Josh has just used the Colossal Snafu, I think it's only fitting that Peter should use Great Victory. Everything goes right, above and beyond even the greatest expectations, for a few seconds at least.
Fantastic.
GM describes how.
Perfect use of that card. So what I'm going to say, you all sort of reach for it. What stat and skills are people using to stop this cable getting in the air? Frog, what are you using?
melee.
Violence melee?
Yeah.
Cool. Valance?
Okay, so none of my violence skills are very good. So instead, I would like to go with a more scientific angle and try and project the trajectory of the parabolic arc of the cable as it sweeps downwards, and then try to do it based on like timing and maths.
Mechanics, like what, engineer or engineer? Is that what or operate?
I think brains and engineer, maybe.
Yeah, brains and engineer, fine by me. And Peter, what are you doing? Even though everything goes right, what is your go-to?
I think I'm going to use Violence and Alpha Complex, using my knowledge of how this place was put together.
Nice.
To know exactly where to hit the cable to knock it away.
Yeah, you know exactly where that cable's come from and how long it is, and it's just going to do this. Yeah, perfect. All right, so everyone roll those relevant stats and skills with plus computer dice and let me know what you get.
I get 3 successes with my engineering check.
I also get 3.
I have no successes whatsoever.
Peter and Valance, you managed to grab the just in time. Frog, can you make for me a violence athletics check? Because you also go and grab it, but you grab the sparky end of the cable.
Oh, no. All right. I have 1 success.
1 success, that's fine. You don't get the main part of it, because that would have been pretty bad. But you all sort of grab it, and it just so happens that as you 3 are grabbing it, the sort of current shoots up inside you, and it does connect a little bit to the floor, so both Bridget and Jeff get this as well. And that would have killed you all outright. Except Peter played the greatest victory card. You feel a sort of shock of electricity or something coursing through all of you. Something strange, something powerful. The electricity has activated your latent mutant abilities. Again, I'm just going to send them in the Discord because I can't bother to share them separately. So, okay.
Does this also activate Bridget's steroid abuse?
Oh,
Is that-
100%.
is
We'll get back to Bridget in the next round for sure. Okay. So mutant powers are things you should not have as troubleshooters. Alpha Complex does not like Friend Computer and Alpha Complex do not like traitors, and they certainly do not like mutants. So you're all aware that you've all gained powers, but you're also aware that this is traitorous to have them. You can use your power in any way if you spend Moxie points to activate them when it gets to your turn. The more points you use, the better the effect is, essentially. So it's just, again, another way to use something else. So you can use that instead of your action card now, I'd say. But you're all injured as a result. So if you're not injured already, you are injured. So that's a -2 to your pool. However, the electric shock, again, through the sort of red topping, it hits this maintenance box creature, and it also got this horrible whirring scream, almost like not very similar to Scubbot, like it's like really loud. It is also injured. Okay, so that was Jeff's turn originally. Frog, we're going to you now. What would you like to do?
Am I still in the water?
Yes, you're all sort of a little bit in the water, sort of buoyancy a little bit because the table got broken. So yes, you are in the red topping.
And how large is this Kraken bot?
Massive.
Right, I think then in that case, what I want to do is, can I use both the cards and my mutant power?
One or the other, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
You can use the card if it's got a reaction symbol on somebody else's turn, but in your turn, you can only use one or the other.
I'm going to use Clawed Shot to the groin. So the attack strikes your target in a very painful area, but the effects aren't permanent. Roll a die. If the target's an NPC, they're out of action for that many rounds.
All right, so who are you targeting?
The Kraken bot. And I think I said I took a rusty pipe with me when I dived underwater.
You did.
So
Cool.
I'm going to have to send rusty pike and just go whack it straight in where one of the sensors is.
All right, so roll the d6 first, so we see if how many rounds it will be out for if you succeed.
5.
5? Oh, that's a high number. Fantastic. All right.
If I succeed, though.
If you succeed, yeah, so you're putting all your weight and effort into it, so that's really cool. It's going to be a violence melee. Remember, you do have Moxie points, so you can always add a die to your roll, or you can re-roll it if you don't like it.
And injured takes away 2 rolls, right?
It takes away 2 dice from your roll, yes.
I don't have much Moxie left. Okay, I'm going to sacrifice 2 Moxie, leaving me with only 2 Moxie left.
So yeah, so you can add 2 die to your roll if you're sending 2. So how many dice are you rolling in total just now? Just describe it first.
Including the computer dice, I'm rolling 6.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 2 successes.
You realise that these tentacle things, they're not the biggest threat. Like, they're going to throw you against the wall. They're going to take, what you saw what happened to Jeff. These are powerful things. You go straight for the main sensor, and you just do a massive whack. And it just comes down on it in the middle of it, sort of almost a Cylon-like eye, essentially. You hit it, and you just hear it go, and it sort of freezes in place. It's out for 5 rounds, currently sort of stuck there. So good job, Frog. We're going up to Valence next. Valence, what would you like to do? You can see, again, you're just shaking off the electrical energy, again, having that -2 injury to you. But you can see this creature is had taken a good hit thanks to Frog.
So there is a card here which leads to a vehicle appearing essentially out of nowhere that would be useful to the action. So I'm kind of thinking...
A taxi, yeah?
Yeah, it's called Taxi. Get in, there's no time to explain. But instead of going shopping, I would maybe like to go underground. So my idea was that maybe there's a submarine or a helicopter to float and get away that would somehow be in the ruins of this room.
I want you to describe what happens. How do you discover this vehicle? Whether it is a submarine or what is it that you find, essentially? Because then if you describe it, then I can tell you.
Yeah. So I think a lot of things are happening at once. Almost get electrocuted. I'm injured. I'm covered in sticky dessert topping.
Yep.
I'm not in the best physical shape, and I stumble backwards. And as I do, I think I hit something submerged in the treacle. And I think I land on a little hatch, a little wheel thing which you spin to open. And inside is a one-person bathysphere, I think is the word. A bathysphere. It's basically an orb in which a man can reside.
Yeah.
It's got like a little port window you can see out of, and inside there's like lots of little levers, probably too many to actually be functional.
But it's perfect for Valance, though, who's been looking at all these instruction manuals in their head. Yeah. I was going to say that, my only thing was going to be it was a one-person sub, which you've already done, so that's perfect. So, it's actually like a routine bot that comes and surveys this survey topic, but easily can be handled in some way. So, absolutely, you have a vehicle appear. And you get a +1 so long as it's useful and intact. So what would you like to do with this new bathysphere that you have?
Okay, since it's out of action, I would like to descend downwards towards like the plug. I like to think that on this thing there's like little operating arms, so I can like do things with it, like maybe grab like the chain attached to the plug at the bottom, and try to like maneuver inwards. There might be like an operations check, basically try to get this thing sealed.
Absolutely, it would be an operations check. So a mechanics operations check.
Okay. 10 in total, but minus injuries because that's -2. Cool.
Yep.
Give me a second. There's quite a few dice.
Take your time. Don't worry.
Okay. I have 3 successes, including a computer die success, if that means anything in this situation.
So this creature, obviously, is sort of like, it's frozen in place. You sort of go down, and you can see like this bathysphere sort of thing, and you go, and you can see, as you get there, and you sort of clamp around the sort of arms using all the different buttons and stuff, you can see this humanoid, and you notice the key is still on the humanoid because unfortunately Frog didn't manage to get it, so you managed to pick that off first using one of those successes. So you have a key to Theta Sector. Because of the sudden explosion that's happened with the Kraken bot or the maintenance bot, suddenly there is almost like everyone hears a sort of like there's like a little thing as it says connecting back to Alpha Complex. You certainly get Valance, who's had the most trouble with Friend Computer, let's say. You've had your vision blurred, you've had pop-ups and stuff. You now get indefinite hold music as the computer's trying to connect to you. And it goes, please hold as we put you to a regional operative to solve your current problem. And you're just there going, I'm solving it. And it's like,
Feel my pain.
Conveniently, we now come to Peter. Peter, what would you like to do?
Excellent. So I think seeing Frog's attempt to destroy the Kraken and sort of where she targeted and the effect it had, he is going to launch himself at the same central unit and try and beat it to death with his bare hands. I'm also. This really feels like cheating. I wouldn't forgive myself if I didn't play it. I'm going to play my sudden death card.
Yep.
Which means that if the action I'm playing this on causes damage to a living thing or a bot, it automatically kills whatever got hit.
This will be a violence melee if you're just using your bare hands.
And are you going to spend 2 moxie to negate my injury?
Perfect.
So that's the full dice roll.
Let's do it.
Okay, so that is 1, 2, 3 successes. Is that enough to do damage to...
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. How do you destroy this creature if you're playing your sudden death card?
I think as I land on the central unit, I use the constant stickiness of my body to adhere to one side of it with one hand free. And I'm just going to say, violence is counterproductive in any relationship. You should know this. And then as I start to hit, it turns into a rhythm. Da, 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 until eventually my hand is bloodied, but hopefully the robot is no longer moving.
Yeah, it gets to a point that the more you bash SKW1DD0 maintenance bot, the more suddenly the pop filter comes back up again about like, censoring dangerous things, and you can't even see what you're doing, but you're pulling wires, you're pulling horrible gunk out that's covered in red dessert topping. And this creature, if it could scream, would scream, because you were just pulling the insides out of it, going completely on the sauce, shall we say, on the sauce. Brilliant. Okay, so with the creature sort of been dealt with, and you can see like the like I said, the sort of Cylon eye sort of dimming, like it starts to slowly sort of sink. The arms itself, like it was going towards Bridget again. It was going to try and get Jeff and sort of pull Jeff in half. They slowly sink back down, like slapping the dessert topping, sort of buoyant, like on the side. What would you guys like to do? You know, Valance has sort of gone underneath to deal with the plug issue. What would you guys like to do?
This is like the last time I took some pills with some friends and we went to the park.
I will be Using my newfound ability to swim and me floundering over towards the most buoyant-looking thing I can see. Whatever that might
That'll be one of the tentacles, I think.
Yeah.
I think I'm still beating down on the robot.
You're engaged with
manic.
something else. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
I am backing away from Peter just beating the robot to death, and I am also going to find safe ground somewhere.
Balance. Roll for me. 'Cause you're going to pull. I assume you're going to pull this plug.
Mm-hmm.
What skill would you use for this?
I think mechanics makes the most sense, and operate again.
Yeah.
Maybe like
Yeah,
I imagine like the inside kind of looks like the inside of a forklift truck, and I'm just sat there like with my high-vis jacket, just pulling various levers, and it goes beep beep beep. This machine is operational. Please stay at least 2 meters away.
Please roll for me a mechanics operate. You've got Moxie points as well if you want to spend those.
I do. I might spend 2 of them to counteract my injuries.
Injured, yes.
Yeah, I'm imagining it's like the scene in Airplane where he's like sweating heavily and just
You are soaked.
mixed with like red treacle.
You're filling up this bathysphere. Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't stop. Okay.
It's a horrible, sweaty, salty, sweety, acidic taste with the red topping.
3 successes.
Easily enough, you get the sort of the arms start to pull, and you can hear this sort of as you manage to pull up the plug. There's a giant hole in this room now, and suddenly you all feel it sort of as all of you are starting to get pulled downwards towards the plug to where this new hole is. Frog, you'll get a +1 dice to this one because you are already trying to make your way there. But I think everyone needs to make for me I'm gonna, you know what? Because we've not used it. I want to use a Chutzpah athletics check to see if you can like make your way against the current.
I might spend 1 more moxie on this just to bring me up a little
Sounds
bit.
good. Frog, sorry, go for it.
Can you use mutant powers out of combat?
You certainly can. What were you planning on
Okay,
doing?
I'm down to my last Moxie points, but I'm going to use strength to try not to get sucked down into the hole.
Oh, then if you're using strength, then you easily could get it off because I think you just getting there and then you managed to hold on to the railing essentially, so you've succeeded automatically. No problem.
5 is a success, isn't it?
Yes, it is. 5
Okay,
and 6.
so I've had 1 success, nothing on the computer dice.
Ditto here.
All right, good.
I have 0 successes.
I have no successes either.
No successes. All right, Valence, did you have a +1 for your vehicle as well? Because you're in the vehicle.
Hang on.
I
Good
suggest.
point. I'm going to roll 1 more dice.
Yeah, because you do. It is kind of useful here.
It did not help, unfortunately.
Oh no, it drags you back. Unfortunately, with no successes, Bridget, you sort of slip, as you said a bit, and you and Valence get taken down in this torrent. The bathysphere, unfortunately, rips apart because of the way the torrent is. And once again, Bridget gets sucked down. And again, everyone's sort of eyeball display, sort of, and then bing. And as everyone else sort of clambers back up onto the sort of gantry, taking a moment for the breath, 2 brand new clones of Bridget and Valence appear right next to you. Valence, you have in your hand the key to Theta Sector. What happens now is that Rolls is like, brilliant. Well, it's done then. And you can see that, again, that slowly but surely this the red topping is slowly going back down. You get on your display thing, says, once you've finished a mission, please report to the briefing room. And there's an arrow that sort of comes up.
I would like to stealthily pocket the keycard I got first.
All right, make for me a Chutzpah stealth roll then.
1 success.
1 success. All right, easy enough. You sort of palm it, put it into your infrared boiler suit pocket.
Well, good work, everyone. Friend Computer must be so pleased with us.
I think we've really come together and bonded well. Each to their own strength. We took down the monster and opened up the plug. Roz, you made sure to capture everything in perfect detail, I'm sure. And I can just see now that we're really going to do well together.
An excellent sentiment, Peter.
Roz is just like looking at you all in disgust because obviously she's and also horror as well because it was quite a scary thing that she just managed to get away from. And this is okay. Well, I guess let's head back to the briefing room then.
Lead on.
So you all go?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
conveniently, there's one within sort of a 10-minute walk, and you can see as you're starting to make your way down, like there are other scub bots that are sort of cleaning up this red dessert topping, like slowly like cleaning stuff over like the walls and stuff. You go past maybe the food court area. There's no evidence left of Infrared Beard and his pirate gang, and you make it back to a debriefing room with a debriefing officer. The officer itself, you can see, is a gentleman. Above his head, it says Vernon YHYT 2. Sort of a moon-faced, harried, balding clone is sort of sat behind a desk. And he's like, oh, well, congratulations on completing your first mission, Infrareds. Congratulations. I just got a few debriefing questions just to double check. So he sort of goes through them. Yes, we've got most of the footage here, and sort of clicks, and then, style like a projector stuff unit sort of comes down, and it sort of shows footage in black and white before you entered. Can you explain, troubleshooters, why you sort of misappropriated and misused sector hoys, tables, benches, doors for getting through the red dessert topping? It seems like you could have easily waded through.
I think misused is the wrong word in this situation. I would say that what was happening was we were having a meeting as a group while we were going through the corridors, and obviously when you're having a meeting with a large group of people, it's best to sit around, or in this case on a table. It seemed perfectly logical at the time.
Turns to both Frog and Peter and goes, I believe we've heard reports that you were both responsible for the destruction of a valuable SKW-1DD0 unit maintenance bot. Can you explain your actions, please?
Oh, I did not mean to destroy it. I just meant to pause it while one of us could pull the plug as per mission requirements.
You did complete the mission then?
Oh, yes.
We did.
Yes, I did actually.
You did. Fantastic. You unplugged the plug. Did you plug it back in?
Ross, I believe that was your job, wasn't it? We agreed after you'd finished filming. That was.
Yeah. I remember the same.
Yeah, so do I.
Real time.
Now you mention it.
Jeff
All right,
nods vigorously.
everyone can make for me, because you're all working together on this, a chutzpah bluff check.
Oh, 5 successes, including 1 computer dice.
Oh, good to know.
Oh, that's 6. That's 6. I got a 5 as well, right?
Sorry about this, but I've got a -4 in bluff. Reminds me what the negative dice mean. That would bring my pool down to -2.
Oh, God. Yes, sure. We'll just do it like that. Negative numbers are terrible from that perspective. But essentially it will be chutzpah plus bluff plus your injury plus
the injury.
dice.
Okay, so that would be -4 then. So I roll 4 dice, but 1s and 2s are critical fails, right? I think.
So if it's negative, your pool, so you roll 4 dice.
Mm-hmm.
Every non-success, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, count against any successes, so they cancel each other out.
Right. Okay. Well,
So we could come back to you in a second. So you might not need to roll at this point. So Frog,
fantastic.
you get 6 successes, Frog, right?
Including computer dice.
Including computer dice.
That's my last point in Moxie. Shit.
We'll come to you in a second then. So you got 6 successes. Peter?
I got 3, including the computer dice.
Okay, so -1 point of Moxie as well. Bridget and Valance, what did you guys get?
I got one success, but not on the computer dice.
0 successes.
This is the sheer amazement of Frog and Peter just sort of like blatantly sort of leading the charge, saying, well, we think it was Roz doing it. Vernon's like, well, troubleshooter Roz, did you not think to remind our, because the Infrareds, they need purpose, they need someone with authority. And Roz is like, well, you see, and Vernon's like, Roz, you realize the importance. You were in command of this mission, and yet you let them go. Oh, you can't. They can't be trusted. You had to have it. And she's like, It looks like we'll have to get you down for more re-education, Roz. She's like, I don't think that's necessary. And then 2 more arms come out of the wall, and she's sort of taken away very quickly to be re-educated with immediate effect.
Let me know how it goes.
Do you still have that, Bridget?
You'll send a postcard, won't you?
So, for those 2 people in the we'll do Peter first. Jeff, I would say that you're fine on this point.
Thank God.
You just sort of like yeah.
Before I can say anything helpful or incriminating, everything has happened, and I just shut my mouth and sit still.
Exactly. Frog. your eyeball display, the feed of it changes to almost be like an inverted filter. So everyone's sort of in that horrible bluey black white light, and it says, "Please do not be alarmed. This is your friend computer talking to you. I've got you a secret mission." And it proceeds to give you the detailed mission. But unfortunately, you said you used your last Moxie point.
Yes.
It's been a very stressful time for you, Frog. So you can either, I'm going to give you the choice, you can either just role play your free adjectives to maximum, like you just going to go really, really hard, or I can give you something from the table that you just add to, just like another quirk, essentially.
I think I'm going to roleplay to the max. Although I don't know how I'm going to switch between reckless and cowardly, to be honest. But
If you have to jump out of a window to escape, you will.
Yeah, right. Pretty much. So, all right. Well, so this detailed mission is coming to it, and you are feeling really overwhelmed at this point. So you've got that going on in the back of your mind. If at any point you just do something, I'm going to let you do it to role-play in that. So, Peter, you make this big impassioned speech as well with Frog, and you see Frog sort of freezes up a little bit, and is just clearly concentrating on something that's not there in front of her. And you hear in your head, ding, as you get to the front of the queue. And it says, "Do not understand the request. Please try again later."
God damn you. God damn you all to hell.
But more important than that, at the same time, as it sort of reconnects and everything sort of jigs up a little bit, suddenly, in your head, the music stops, finally. So you're like, a bit of peace. Suddenly there is a ba-ba-ba-ba, so again, another Ryanair trumpet sort of thing. And it says, "Troubleshooter Peter, congratulations. Your valiant efforts have made you a hero of Alpha Complex." And all around you, and this is even in the briefing room, you see vid screens of stuff of people who definitely aren't Peter, but they're dressed up to look like Peter, acting out stuff that Peter definitely didn't do. So, fighting pirates, clearing out the way, opening the lift door, taking off the bodysuit, operating the bathysphere, all really awful, reconstruction videos. "Congratulate Hero Peter of Alpha Complex," and everyone's sort of there is with all the attention on you.
Finally, he's getting the recognition he deserves.
We all see this, or is it only...
Everyone sees this. Everyone sees this.
Yeah, I turn to Peter and clap.
It was a team effort. I really don't think this is all necessary at all. I perhaps a little recognition.
You're too humble for your own good, Peter.
Bridget is staring at the screen. He's like, "Oh, I like this movie. Quite clever, isn't it? How they make it."
There's lots of slide transitions disappear. The horrible sort of word art comes out.
Oh, beautiful.
How generous of you to take all of the limelight, Peter. Congratulations.
Oh, please, no. I really don't.
Yeah, you are feeling really awkward at this point with all the eyes on you. Vernon does a few more questions sort of to finish up, and he goes, "Well, you've given a good account of yourselves. Clearly, Roz, well, we've got some issues with her previously, so maybe re-education will help her." And he sort of goes, "Oh, Bridget, you seem to have re-education. Don't." And he sort of does something in the air, and you see that side mission sort of disappear. "Well, congratulations, troubleshooters. I believe you have successfully completed the mission, sort of. I mean, we'll still have to send in another party to re-plug in the plug. But, well, we'll let you get on, and you've got..." And he sort of counts up again. All right. 150 XP, as promised.
I would like to lean in close. So, just to remind myself, this keycard has a label on it for Sector Theta. Was that true?
Sector Theta, yes.
Yeah. I would like to lean into Vernon closely and whisper, "What's Sector Theta?"
Vernon blinks at you. There's no such sector, troubleshooter Valance. There's no such sector.
I smile a wide smile and say, "Perfectly understood."
And that's where we're going to end this one shot of Paranoia.
Are we all level reds now?
You're all level reds, but what does it matter? It's at the end of the one shot.
I just needed it for my own gratification.
Of course, I understand.
Thanks for running that. That was great, Fiona.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was really
Thank you
good.
very much.
The What Am I Rolling podcast was created, recorded, and edited by me, Fiona Howat. This episode's players were Tim, Alistair, Ben, Josh, and Kylie from Dunking on the DM, where comedy and storytelling collide in one actual play tabletop roleplay podcast. This episode's RPG was Paranoia Red Clearance Edition, published by Mongoose Publishing. You can find out more about Paranoia and get your own copy of the current version on the Mongoose Publishing website. That's mongoosepublishing.com. The theme music was 8-Bit March by Twin Musicon of twinmusicon.org, licensed under a Creative Commons 4.0 license. If you want to find out more about the podcast, check out the website. That's www.wairpodcast.com. Fancy getting in touch? Email the podcast at whatamirollingpodcast@gmail.com. Finally, follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at WAIR_podcast for latest news on upcoming episodes. And remember, adventurers need not apply.